Good morning from Glastonbury. It's been a week since we spoke, since I spoke to you. A week more of this, I call it solitary confinement, that we are going through. And it seems to me that solitary confinement is sometimes seen as a punishment, but many people have found that solitary confinement can also be a very revealing experience that can take me inward to discover more of myself and to completely reorient my experience, my sense of my relationship with the world at large. So this week we are returning to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, this week it's verse number 4, in which Krishna, having said in the previous verse that if you are filled with doubt, if you're not faithful on the path of devotion, shraddha, ashraddha, if I do not have faith on this path, Krishna says, aprapya mam, you won't be able to approach me, you won't find me, and you will have to stay in this world of birth and death. So now he goes on to say in verse number 4, he says, by me, in my unmanifest form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So having said that, we will not be able to, if I have doubt, if I'm not faithful, I won't be able to approach Krishna. Krishna then leads us into something of a paradox, because he says that actually I'm here anyway. But he's here in a way that we could say is hidden. Let me chant the Sanskrit. Maya tatam idang sarvam jagadavyakta murtina matstani sarva bhutani nachaham te shravastita. So, maya tatam idang sarvam, I am spread everywhere throughout this universe, throughout this world, this whole cosmos. Jagad means the whole existence, really, whole creation. I am spread everywhere. Avyakta murtina, I am spread in my, avyakta means my unmanifest form. And I find it amazing that Krishna uses the word murtina. Murti means form. The form, when we go to the temple, we see the form of the deity is called murti. But here Krishna says avyakta murti, the hidden form, the one that is not visible to my eyes, or indeed to my senses, not in the superficial sense. However, Prabhupada opens his commentary by saying the Supreme Lord is not perceivable through the gross material senses. But then he goes on to say that one who is engaged in pure devotional service, for that one, the Lord is revealed. And he cites that lovely verse from the Brahma Samhita, which is a favourite verse of Prabhupada. He often shared it with us. It goes, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Premanjana, literally it means the eyes of love. Anjana is the glance. Premanjana, with the glance of love. Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, the one who is absorbed in devotion, can see me. Santa Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti, the one who is Santa Sadeva, who is absorbed in constant thoughts of me, the one who is saintly, Santa. Yam Sham, and how does that person see me? Amazingly, Krishna, the Brahma Samhita tells us, Yang Shang Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam. Yam Sham Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam means in the heart, Hridayeshu. The previous line says Hridayeshu, in the heart. Yam Sham Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam, sees me in the form of Shamsundar, the inconceivable form of Shamsundar in the heart. So whereas in this verse of the Gita, Krishna says, I'm spread everywhere, but you can't see me. In his commentary, Prabhupada immediately opens his commentary by saying, actually you can see Krishna, but not with the gross physical eye. Krishna can be seen in my heart. If my heart is filled with love. So the whole practice of devotional service of Krishna consciousness is to uncover that natural love which exists in the heart of every one of us. The love is there, but somehow in the material realm it has become covered over. And we're going to hear more about that in the coming verses. So let's see, Prabhupada says, for the general population, for people in general, God is not visible. But actually, although we cannot see him, everything is resting in him. Although I can't see that divine one, but all of this is, and me also, we are all resting in him. As Krishna says in the second part of this verse, Matstani Sarvabhutani. Sarvabhutani, all beings, Matstani, they dwell in me. They are situated in me. So it's almost, it's actually, it's just, the sense is that because Krishna is all around me, I'm not seeing him. If Krishna were to just be in one place and come in front of me, then I could see Krishna. But Krishna is spread everywhere, so almost he becomes invisible. Yet all of this is a manifestation of Krishna's presence, if we have the eyes to see. He's spread everywhere, but then he says, Nachaham te svavastita. I am, all beings are in me, and yet at the same time, I am not in them, Prabhupada translates. All beings are in me, but I'm not in them because I'm hidden. Actually, Krishna is also in the heart of every being. So let's just explore also more of what Prabhupada says in the second paragraph of his explanation. One should not conclude that because Krishna is spread everywhere, that Krishna has lost his personal existence. This is the assumption that often arises. People who are already sort of spiritually evolving in some sense, they understand God is everywhere. But then their conclusion is that therefore God cannot be personal. Which is a very shallow, I don't want to say shallow because anyone who feels, who perceives the universal presence of God is already spiritually progressed. However, to then conclude that therefore God cannot have a personality, that's simply because my experience of personality is in the material sense of, where an individual person can only be in one place and can't be spread everywhere. So you could say the next stage of understanding is to realize that in some sense we can be spread everywhere, even though we are ourselves tiny sparks. Krishna says each living being is a spark of me, a fragment. But by deeper sense of awareness, I could feel that I am connected to everything. Even say, for example, through the ether. Now I'm speaking to you, and each of you who are listening to me are in your personal space. You could be here in England, you could be in Glastonbury, some of you, or in London, or maybe you're in America or in India, and we may be separated by thousands of miles, and yet etherically there is a connection, and you can, to some extent, you can feel me, and I can feel you, even though we're separated by time and space. I can also feel that you're with me. So there is a sense that we can start to feel ourselves spread beyond just this physical body. So that's the beginning of an appreciation that maybe it's possible. When people say we are all one, we're all connected, interconnected, as individual beings, we are all one. I like that, because it's appreciating this capacity of the spirit not to be restricted to a geographical, material, physical location. But what we're going to hear in the coming few verses, Krishna says, Avyakta Murtina, my invisible presence, and he describes how his invisible presence not just permeates the whole universe, but ultimately is the whole universe and controls it in ways that we as individuals couldn't possibly conceive of. So Prabhupada says, all manifestations that we see, everything that exists, both in this material world and in the spiritual world, all are resting in the energy of the Supreme Lord. The creation takes place by the diffusion of his different energies. And so, in that way, we can see Krishna everywhere. So the things to remember from this verse are that Krishna actually, although we can't see him, Krishna is everywhere. But especially I'd like you to contemplate what Prabhupada opens his commentary with, which is this essence, really, of Krishna consciousness, which is Premanjana Churita, Bhakti Vilochanena, with the eyes saturated with prem, with pure love, Santa Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti, the saintly person, the one absorbed in devotion, sees me in the heart. So that's not a material vision. It's an intuitive, inner vision that I can actually, gradually I can learn to see with my inner eye. And then I don't have to be separated from Krishna, although externally we are. And so there is this sense in the amongst the followers of Lord Chaitanya that we feel a separation. We feel an absence, and this is what, of course, I think that those who don't understand the personal aspect of God, they can't understand this. How we can both see the presence, the divine presence, or feel and really sort of experience that divine presence, and yet at the same time, we can't see Krishna. Krishna is hidden. And so there is, although Krishna is in my heart, and occasionally I may, from time to time, actually see Krishna in advanced practice of Krishna consciousness, I can feel and see Krishna anytime, all the time, and yet feeling separated from Krishna. So before I finish, I'm just going to reach out for my tambura. And let's finish with singing the Sanskrit for this verse. Just give me 1 second here. This beautiful verse of the Bhagavad Gita, Maya tatam idam sarvam, this whole cosmos is filled with my presence, Jagad Avyakta Murtina, in my hidden form. Matstani Sarvabhutani, all beings are in me. Nachaham Tesravastita, but I am not in them. Maya tatam idam sarvam. Repeat. Maya tatam idam sarvam. Jagadavyakta murtina. Repeat. Jagadavyakta murtina. Matstani Sarvabhutani Matstani sarvabhutani nachaham te svavastita nachaham te svavastita. I pervade this universe with my hidden presence. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So in the coming verses, Krishna will explore further. He will deepen this understanding of how we are in Krishna, yet Krishna is not in us. So I hope to see you again next time. Hare Krishna. And thank you for your time.